The steel tracks cut into Zuri's skin like frozen blades, but that pain was nothing, absolutely nothing compared to the ice in the eyes of the man standing over her. Kang-Dae, the Diamond King of Seoul's underworld. His $100,000 Patek Philippe Nautilus caught the moonlight as he checked the time, calm as a man ordering coffee. The midnight freight train's whistle tore through the abandoned industrial district, a scream that promised finality. "I gave you everything." His voice was controlled, surgical, lethal. A home, a salary, dignity. He crouched low, Italian leather shoes crunching on gravel, his face now inches from hers. "And you sold my life for paper money." Zuri didn't beg. What good were tears now? Her mother's hospital bracelet pressed against her wrist, the plastic edges worn smooth from months of anxious twisting. The bruises from loan sharks painted her arms purple beneath her sleeves. She met his eyes without flinching. "You had crumbs that could have saved my entire world." Her whisper barely rose above the approaching thunder. "But you chose to watch me starve." The ground trembled. Kang-Dae stood, checking his watch again like he was timing an expensive bottle of wine, not a woman's final heartbeat. But what he didn't know, what he couldn't know, was that the secrets she'd sold were a trap within a trap, a deception wrapped in deception. And he was about to execute the only person in his empire who had ever truly protected him. Would he realize the truth before it was too late? The train's headlight pierced the darkness like a single unblinking eye of judgment. Zuri closed her eyes. Her last thought was of room 402. Stop. Before we go any further into Zuri's story, you need to understand something crucial. This channel is fighting for survival, just like Zuri fought for her mother. We pour our hearts, our sleepless nights, our creative souls into these stories. Stories that matter, stories that move you, stories that make you feel. But without you, we're invisible, just like Zuri was invisible to Kang-Dae until it was almost too late. If you don't subscribe right now, you're choosing to look away. You're choosing to be like the Mafia boss who had everything but gave nothing. Your subscription costs you nothing, literally nothing, but it means everything to us. It's the difference between survival and extinction. Hit that subscribe button now, not later, not at the end. Now. Don't scroll past like Kang-Dae walked past Zuri suffering. Comment your country below so we know you're standing with us. Like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear this story. Prove that compassion still exists in this world, because if you walk away without subscribing, you're no different than the man who tied a desperate woman to train tracks. Don't be that person. The morning sun turned Kang-Dae's floor-to-ceiling windows into sheets of molten gold, but Zuri only saw the dust. Each particle floating in the light was a universe of neglect she needed to erase before he woke. Her knees screamed. She'd been scrubbing since 4 a.m. Through the window, a crimson Lamborghini Aventador rolled into the private garage below, Kang-Dae's third sports car this year. The price tag? 520 million won, roughly $400,000, more than she'd earn in 20 lifetimes of servitude. Her phone buzzed. Seoul Medical Center. Outstanding balance, 8,450,000 won. Payment required by end of week or treatment suspension. 8 million won, about 6,500 US dollars, a number that might as well have been 8 billion. Zuri's hands trembled as she squeezed the cleaning cloth until her knuckles turned white. Her mother's latest chemotherapy had failed. The stage 4 adenocarcinoma had metastasized, spreading like poison through her spine, into her brain. Dr. Kim had mentioned a new protocol, pembrolizumab combined with cisplatin, immunotherapy that showed promise in late-stage cases, but each dose cost 900,000 won. Her mother needed at least 12 doses. Could Zuri find that kind of money? Could anyone? Coffee, now. Zuri jumped like she'd been electrocuted. Kang-Dae stood in the hallway wearing a silk robe that cost more than her mother's ventilator. His eyes were bloodshot, probably from another night at Club Octagon, where he'd reportedly spent 15 million won on champagne. On champagne! In a single night. Yes, sir. She bowed so low her forehead nearly touched her knees. As the espresso machine hissed and sputtered, she calculated again. Her monthly salary, 2,800,000 won. After sending 2 million won to the hospital and 500,000 won to keep the loan sharks from her door, she had 300,000 won left. For rent, for food, for transportation. She hadn't eaten a proper meal in 6 days. How long could a human body survive on instant noodles and tap water? Why does this taste like shit? Kang-Dae spat his first sip back into the cup, dark liquid spraying across the marble counter. I'm sorry, sir. I'll make another. Forget it. He waved dismissively, already scrolling through his phone like she was a fly buzzing in his peripheral vision. The Ferrari dealership called. I'm test driving a 296 GTB this afternoon. Make sure my navy suit is pressed. The Armani, not the Tom Ford. Yes, sir. As he walked away, Zuri noticed the Patek Philippe catalog on the counter, a particular model circled in red ink. Starting price, $180,000. Her mother needed ondansetron for nausea so violent she vomited blood, dexamethasone for brain swelling that caused seizures, morphine for pain that made her scream in the middle of the night, screams that echoed in Zuri's dreams. All of those medications together cost less than the watch Kang-Dae was considering. Zuri gripped the counter's edge, breathed, forced the rage back down into the dark place where she kept all her impossible emotions. What would you do in her position? How long could you watch someone throw away fortunes while your mother died? The public hospital smelled of industrial disinfectant, barely masking the scent of desperation. Zuri navigated the crowded hallways, past families sleeping on waiting room floors, past nurses who'd worked triple shifts until their eyes glazed over, past the children's ward where laughter went to die. Room 402, end of the corridor. Always the same room, always the same nightmare. Her mother, Lillian Jeremy, lay motionless except for the mechanical rise and fall of her chest. The ventilator hissed in rhythm with the cardiac monitor's steady beep. Heart rate 94, oxygen saturation 89%, blood pressure 102/67. All too low, dangerously low. Hi, Mama. Zuri pulls up the plastic chair that had molded itself to the shape of her body over endless vigils. She took her mother's hand, so thin now, bones like bird wings beneath paper skin. I'm here. I'm always here. Lillian's eyes fluttered but didn't open. The morphine drip kept her suspended between consciousness and oblivion, a mercy considering the bone-shattering pain from spinal metastases. Zuri began the routine. Every 2 hours, repositioning to prevent bed sores. She'd learned the technique from YouTube videos at 3 a.m. when sleep wouldn't come. 30-degree angle, pillow support, gentle rotation. The hospital was chronically understaffed. If she didn't do it, no one would. Her mother would develop pressure ulcers, infections, more suffering. The treatment's working, Mama. The lie tasted like ash on her tongue. Dr. Kim says the tumors are shrinking. But the truth was darker, crueler. The adenocarcinoma had wrapped around Lillian's vertebrae like poison ivy choking a tree. The latest CT scan showed new lesions blooming in her brain like deadly flowers. Without the pembrolizumab immunotherapy, the miracle drug that taught the body's immune system to fight back, her mother had weeks, maybe days. The drug existed. The cure was real. It sat in a refrigerated pharmacy 15 floors below, so close Zuri could almost touch it. But it cost more than she could steal in a lifetime. Her phone buzzed. Kang-Dae's Instagram story. Him posing beside the new Lamborghini, champagne bottle raised high, caption reading, another one, #blessed life, #Diamond King. 147,000 likes in 20 minutes. Zuri stared at her mother's face, slack with medication, and felt something inside her crack. Not break, she'd been broken for months. This was different. This was the sound of a door closing and another door opening, a darker door, a necessary door. How far would you go to save someone you love? Where is the line between right and wrong when your mother is dying? "I'll save you, Mama." Her whisper was a vow, a prayer, a threat. "I promise, no matter what it costs me." The cardiac monitor beeped steadily, indifferent to promises made in desperation. They were waiting outside her apartment when she returned at midnight. Of course they were. 3 men, black suits that absorbed the streetlight, dead eyes that had watched too many people beg and had stopped hearing the words years ago. Miss Okonkwo, the leader, Mr. Park they called him, smiled without warmth, without humanity. "You've been avoiding our calls." Zuri's keys clattered to the ground from trembling hands. I have the payment. I just need until..." "Your father borrowed 45 million won before he disappeared into thin air." Mr. Park lit a cigarette, the ember glowing red like a demon's eye. "With interest compounding monthly, you now owe 89 million won. We've been very, very patient." 89 million won, 68,000 USD. It might as well have been a billion. It might as well have been the moon. "I'm paying every month." Zuri's voice cracked with desperation. "I sent 500,000 just last week." "At that rate, you'll pay us off in 14 years. Mr. Park exhaled smoke directly into her face, making her cough. "We're not a charity, Miss Okonkwo. We're businessmen with schedules to keep." One of the other men stepped forward holding a medical diagram, a human body with organs labeled, and Zuri's stomach lurched violently. Prices listed beside each one in neat handwriting. Kidney, 30 million won. Liver lobe, 50 million won. Corneas, 10 million won each. Mr. Park traced the diagram with his finger like a teacher explaining anatomy. "Your body is worth more than your father's debt. We could settle this account today, right now." "Please." Zuri backed against the wall until the concrete pressed into her spine. "My mother is dying. I'm her only..." "Then you have 72 hours to produce 20 million won as good faith payment." Mr. Park dropped his cigarette and crushed it under his shoe with deliberate slowness. "After that, we'll take our payment in flesh, starting with your mother's life support." He handed her a business card with only a phone number printed on it. "We know where she sleeps, Miss Okonkwo. Room 402. Such a vulnerable woman. So many machines that could simply malfunction. A pillow over the face, an air bubble in the IV. These things happen in understaffed hospitals." The threat hung in the air like the cigarette smoke, thick and suffocating. 72 hours, Mr. Park repeated. Rinna walked away with his men following like shadows following light. Zuri slid down the wall, her legs finally giving out completely. 20 million won in 3 days. Impossible. Mathematically, physically, spiritually, cosmically impossible. She pulled out her phone with shaking hands. Kang-Dae's Instagram story showed him at a private poker game, chips stacked like towers of Babel. The caption, "Small stakes tonight, only 50 million won on the table." 50 million won, more than double what she needed to save her mother's life. Just sitting there, on green felt, being gambled away for entertainment, for fun. She had one choice left, only one path forward. Tomorrow, she would beg, she would kneel, she would prostrate herself before the Diamond King and pray that somewhere beneath the diamonds and designer suits, there was still a human heart beating. Would he help her? Could someone that rich, that powerful, still remember what it meant to be human? Zuri found her moment 3 days later as Kang-Dae inspected a shipment of luxury watches in his private office. Patek Philippe's, Audemars Piguet's, Richard Mille's, timepieces worth more than small nations spread across his mahogany desk, like toys in a child's playroom. She'd rehearsed the words 1,000 times, practiced the bow in front of her bathroom mirror, prepared the perfect amount of humility. "Sir?" Her voice cracked like thin ice. "May I speak with you? It's important." Kang-Dae didn't look up from examining a rose gold nautilus under a jeweler's loupe. "I'm busy." "It's about my salary, sir. I need—" She swallowed hard, tasting copper and fear. "I need an advance, just 20 million won. I'll work for free for the next 2 years. 3 years. I'll do anything." Now he looked up, one eyebrow raised in what might have been amusement. 20 million won? "My mother is dying, sir. Stage 4 lung cancer. The treatment exists, but I can't afford—" "And that's my problem because—" The words hit her like a physical slap. Zuri blinked, certain she'd misheard. "Sir, I've worked for you for 3 years. I've never missed a single day, never complained, never asked for anything." "You've never asked for anything because I pay you to not ask for anything." Kang-Dae set down the watch with deliberate care. "I pay for service, Zuri. I pay you to clean my floors, press my suits, bring me coffee exactly how I like it. I don't pay for your personal failures and family tragedies." "My mother isn't a failure. She's a liability." He turned back to his watches like she was already dismissed. "Everyone has problems. Everyone has dying parents or sick children or crushing debts. If I gave money to every employee with a sob story, I'd be bankrupt within a year." Zuri felt something splinter inside her chest, sharp and irreparable. "I would pay you back, every single won, with interest, whatever rate you want." "With what? Your 2 million won salary?" He actually laughed, a cold, mirthless sound. "That's the problem with you people. No concept of basic mathematics or economics." "You people." The words hung in the air like poison gas, revealing everything he truly thought of her. Kang-Dae stood, grabbing a bottle of Dom Perignon from his cabinet. 5 million won for the vintage. He popped it open carelessly, letting the foam spray across the floor Zuri had scrubbed on her hands and knees that very morning. "Here's a life lesson, Zuri." He took a long swig directly from the bottle, foam running down his chin. "The world doesn't owe you anything. Your mother's cancer isn't my responsibility. Your father's debts aren't my problem. You want money? Earn it. Get a better job. Sell something valuable." He gestured at her with the bottle, champagne sloshing. "But don't come into my office with tears and trembling hands expecting me to be your savior. I'm a businessman, not a charity, not a church, not your father." Zuri stared at him, at the man she'd served faithfully for 3 years, the man whose secrets she'd kept, whose home she'd maintained, whose life she'd organized from the shadows. "You spent 50 million won at a poker game last week," she said quietly, each word dropping like a stone into still water. "My money, my choice. That bottle you just opened cost 5 million won. Again, my money, my choice. That watch on your wrist could save her life." Kang-Dae's expression hardened into something ancient and pitiless. "This conversation is over. Clean up this champagne and get back to work. And, Zuri," he leaned close enough that she could smell the alcohol on his breath, "if you ever question how I spend my money again, you'll be looking for a new job. Understood?" Zuri nodded, unable to speak past the lump of rage and grief lodged in her throat. As she knelt to clean the champagne from the floor, the expensive champagne he'd wasted to make a point, she felt the last thread of her loyalty snap like a rotten rope. What would you do? Would you stay loyal to someone who valued alcohol more than your mother's life? The text message arrived at 2 a.m., glowing in the darkness of her room. "I hear you need money. I can help. S." Zuri stared at her phone screen, heart hammering against her ribs. She'd never given her number to anyone named S, but somehow they knew. They knew about her mother. They knew about her desperation. They knew everything. Another message. "Room 402, Seoul Medical Center, Lillian Jeremy, Stage 4 adenocarcinoma with spinal and cerebral metastases. Prognosis, 2 to 3 weeks without pembrolizumab protocol. I can provide." Terror and hope warred in Zuri's chest, like two animals fighting to the death. She typed with shaking fingers. "Who is this?" "A friend. Meet me tomorrow, 6 p.m., Hanggang Park, Banpo Bridge. Come alone. Tell no one." She should have deleted the messages, should have blocked the number, should have run to the police, to someone, to anyone. Instead, she whispered into the darkness of her empty apartment, "Okay." The man waiting beneath the Banpo Bridge was younger than she expected. Mid-30s, wire-rimmed glasses, expensive but understated suit. He could have been a banker, a lawyer, a professor, someone respectable. "Miss Okonkwo," he bowed slightly, perfectly polite. "Thank you for coming. My name is Mr. Shin." The name meant nothing to her, but the folder he handed her meant everything. Inside were medical records, her mother's medical records, somehow obtained, along with a comprehensive treatment plan written in precise medical terminology. Pembrolizumab, cisplatin, nivolumab, a multi-drug protocol that Dr. Kim had called experimental but promising, the kind of treatment rich people got, the kind that worked. Total cost, 185 million won for the full course. "How did you get these?" Zuri's hands shook so badly, the papers rustled like leaves. "I have resources," Mr. Shin adjusted his glasses, calm as still water. "I also have enemies. Your employer is one of them." The puzzle pieces clicked together with sickening clarity. "You're the rival, the one Kang-Dae is always trying to destroy?" "Yes," Mr. Shin smiled thinly, no humor in it. "And I'm trying to destroy him, which is where you come in, Miss Okonkwo." "I'm not a spy." "No, you're a daughter." His voice softened with what might have been genuine sympathy. "A daughter watching her mother die while the man you serve buys his third sports car this year. All I need is information, security codes, meeting schedules, phone conversations, nothing that would endanger you directly. That's treason. That's betrayal." "Is it treason to save your mother's life?" Mr. Shin leaned forward, his eyes locked on hers. "Is it treason to choose love over loyalty to a man who chose champagne over compassion, who valued a poker game over a human life?" Zuri looked at the treatment plan again, at the list of drugs that could buy her mother months, maybe years, at the name Seoul National University Hospital, the private facility where real miracles happened, not the overcrowded public death waiting room where her mother currently lay. "How much?" The whisper barely escaped her throat. "The full treatment paid in advance, plus 30 million won to clear your father's debt with the loan sharks." Mr. Shin placed a business card in her hand, the paper heavy and expensive. "All I ask is that you help me bring down a monster." "He's not a monster. He's just heartless, cruel, indifferent to suffering." Mr. Shin leaned forward, his eyes locked on hers. "Miss Okonkwo, Kang-Dae has killed 17 people that we know of. He's trafficked women and children, sold drugs to teenagers, burned down a competitor's family home with children sleeping. You think he deserves your protection?" Zuri had no answer. The words died in her throat. "You have 48 hours before your loan sharks return," Mr. Shin said quietly, standing to leave. "After that, the offer expires, along with your mother." He walked away, leaving Zuri standing beneath the Banpo Bridge with a recording pen and a choice that would damn her soul to hell. She looked across the Han River at the Seoul skyline, where Kang-Dae's penthouse glittered like a diamond among the stars, a diamond bought with blood and suffering. Then she looked at her mother's hospital bracelet on her wrist, worn smooth from months of anxious touching. The choice had already been made. Had it always been made? What choice did she really have? The first recording nearly killed her. Zuri stood outside Kang-Dae's office, the pen trembling in her pocket like a living thing, as he discussed a weapons shipment with his lieutenants. Her heart hammered so violently she was certain they could hear it through the door, certain they could smell her fear like predators smell prey. Just press the button. Do it. For Mama, for Lillian, for everything that matters. She pressed it. The pen barely made a sound, just a tiny click. But to Zuri, it was a gunshot echoing through her soul. She'd crossed the line that couldn't be uncrossed. She was now a traitor, a spy, a Judas, a betrayer of the highest order. That night, she transferred the recording to Mr. Shin's encrypted server, her hands shaking so badly she almost couldn't type the password. 20 minutes later, her phone buzzed. First payment deposited, 10 million won. Your mother's pembrolizumab treatment begins tomorrow. Zuri collapsed on her bathroom floor and wept. Tears of relief, horror, shame, and gratitude all at once, until she couldn't tell which emotion was which anymore. The weeks blurred together into a nightmare of deception that never ended. She became a ghost in Kang-Dae's home, invisible but always listening, always recording meetings, photographing documents, memorizing security codes. Each piece of information she passed along felt like cutting off a piece of her own flesh. But the results were undeniable, impossible to ignore. At Seoul National University Hospital, her mother received the first dose of pembrolizumab in a private room with a view of the city, then the second dose, then the third. The immunotherapy worked like magic pulled from a fairy tale. The tumors in her spine began shrinking. The brain lesion stabilized. Her mother's eyes opened for the first time in weeks and whispered, "Zuri, is that you, baby? I'm here, Mama. I'm right here." Dr. Kim was stunned, genuinely shocked. The response rate is remarkable. She's in the 15% of patients who show this kind of dramatic improvement. If we continue the protocol for the full 12 doses, we'll continue, Zuri said firmly. Her hands shook even as her voice steadied. Whatever it costs, whatever it takes. The cost was her soul, but what was a soul compared to a mother's life? The trauma manifested in night terrors that left her screaming into her pillow. Zuri would wake up convinced Kang-Dae was standing over her bed with a gun pointed at her head. Her hands shook constantly now. She dropped dishes, spilled coffee, fumbled with keys, left bruises on her arms from gripping things too hard. "You look terrible," Kang-Dae commented one morning, barely glancing up from his phone. "Are you using drugs? You look like a junkie." "No, sir, just tired." "Well, stop being tired. You're useless when you're exhausted. I need you sharp." She wanted to laugh, to scream, to tell him that she was tired because she spent her nights betraying him and her days pretending to be loyal, that she was exhausted from living two lives simultaneously, one as his faithful servant, one as his destroyer, that she was dying inside, piece by piece, conscience by conscience. Instead, she bowed her head. "Yes, sir, I'll rest more." Mr. Shin's requests escalated like a fever climbing toward crisis. He wanted real-time locations, safe house addresses, names of corrupt police on Kang-Dae's payroll, the encrypted passwords to offshore accounts. Each request pushed Zuri deeper into danger, deeper into the darkness where there was no return. "This is too much," she told him during a midnight meeting in a parking garage that smelled of oil and fear. "If he finds out, he won't." Mr. Shin's voice was ice and iron. "And even if he does, your mother will be cured by then. Isn't that worth the risk? Isn't her life worth anything?" Was it? Zuri didn't know anymore. The line between right and wrong had become so blurred she could no longer see where one ended and the other began. Everything was gray now. Everything was compromise. She thought of her mother, now sitting up in bed, eating solid food for the first time in months, laughing at a nurse's joke, asking about Zuri's day. Alive. "One more month," Zuri said, her voice hollow. "Then I'm done. No more after that." "Of course," Mr. Shin smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Just one more month. But they both knew it was a lie. She was in too deep now. There was no way out except through betrayal or death. That night, Zuri stood on her apartment balcony, looking at the city lights spread below like fallen stars. Somewhere out there, Kang-Dae slept peacefully in his penthouse, unaware that his empire was crumbling because he'd refused to give a desperate woman the price of a watch. She felt no satisfaction, only emptiness, only the growing certainty that she would pay for this betrayal. One way or another, the bill would come due. The question was, when? Kang-Dae's weapons delivery, 500 million won worth of modified firearms from Eastern Europe, vanished between the port and the warehouse like smoke. Police were waiting at the drop point. His 3 best men were arrested on sight, face down on concrete with guns to their heads. Someone had talked. Someone had betrayed him. Zuri was folding laundry when she heard the penthouse door slam so hard the windows rattled. Kang-Dae stormed in, his face a mask of cold fury that made her blood freeze solid in her veins. Everyone out. His voice was deadly quiet, more terrifying than any scream, except her. Zuri's hands went numb. The shirt she was holding slipped from her fingers like water. Kang-Dae waited until the door closed, waited until they were alone. Then he pulled out his phone and pressed play. Her own voice filled the room, damning and undeniable. The shipment arrives Tuesday at 3 a.m., Pier 7, container 4582. I found the recordings in your room. Kang-Dae's voice was too quiet, too controlled, along with the wire in your lamp, the camera and the smoke detector, the encrypted phone hidden in your dresser drawer. Zuri couldn't breathe, couldn't speak. The room spun like she was falling from a great height. How long? His voice was a razor blade cutting through flesh. I can explain. How long? He hurled his phone against the wall, shattering it into pieces. How long have you been selling my secrets to Shin? How long have you been a fucking snake in my home? 2 months, Zuri whispered, the confession torn from her throat. 2 months. Kang-Dae laughed, a terrible, broken sound that barely sounded human. 2 months of looking at your face every morning. 2 months of trusting you with my home, my life, my movements, my vulnerabilities, and every single second you were a snake, a traitor, Judas in my own house. I didn't have a choice. There's always a choice. He moved closer, and Zuri saw something she'd never seen in his eyes before. Hurt. Actual human hurt beneath the rage. I gave you a job when no one else would hire you, a home, steady pay, safety, and you repaid me with betrayal? You gave me crumbs. The words exploded from Zuri before she could stop them, before she could swallow them back. You gave me 2 million won a month, while you bought 500 million won cars. I begged you for help, and you threw champagne on the floor and told me to clean it like a dog. So you sold me out? You put a target on my head? You tried to get me killed? My mother was dying. Tears streamed down Zuri's face, hot and unstoppable. She was dying, and you had the money to save her in your watch pace. You had it in your champagne bottles. You had it in your poker chips. You had it, and you chose to watch her die. That wasn't your money to take. It wasn't your life to ignore. They stared at each other, both breathing hard, the air crackling with 3 years of invisible resentment finally made visible. Finally said out loud. Do you know how many people want me dead? Kang-Dae's voice dropped to a whisper more terrifying than a scream. Do you know how many enemies I have? And now, because of you, they know everything. My roots, my safe houses, my weaknesses, my vulnerabilities. I know. Zuri's voice was hollow, emptied of everything. I know what I did. Do you? He pulled out a gun, a silver pistol that gleamed under the lights like a promise of death. If you're going to kill me, just do it. But please, her voice cracked completely. Please let my mother finish her treatment. She's innocent. She doesn't know anything. She doesn't deserve. I'm not going to kill you here. Kang-Dae's smile was terrible, inhuman. I'm going to show you what betrayal costs, what happens when you cross the Diamond King. The abandoned rail yard sat on the edge of Seoul like a graveyard of industry, a place where things went to die. Rusted freight cars, forgotten machinery, dreams that had turned to dust. The midnight train, the freight that ran supplies to the northern factories, still used one track, but the rest had been surrendered to decay and ghosts. Kang-Dae dragged Zuri to the active rail line and forced her down onto the cold steel. She didn't fight. What was the point? She'd known this moment would come from the second she pressed that recording pen, from the second she chose betrayal over loyalty. "Please," the whisper barely escaped her throat as he tied her wrists to the track with zip ties that cut into her skin. "Please." "You said please when you asked for money." Kang-Dae pulled the ties tight, checking them twice. "I said no." "You said please when you begged for your mother's life." "I said no." He stood, looking down at her with dead eyes. "Now you're saying please, and I'm saying no. Do you see the pattern? Do you understand now?" Watch out for part 2. If you really want to know the end of this story, please let us know in the comments section.